Hey, welcome back to the Build Show Network. Steve Basic Architect. We're out here at our Riverside project, and let's talk about prepping the rough opening. So on this house here, you can see on the outside, we use the Zip R9 product. You can see we have one of our window openings there that is fully prepped, not unlike the window here that I'm standing in front of. To prep the windows, there's basically three sizes to the window opening. There's the unit dimension, which is the actual size of the window. There's the rough opening dimension, which is the unit dimension plus 1 inch. And then there is the framed opening, which is back here at the 2x line, not at the zip line, which actually adds 2 inches and 3.5 inches in height, 2 inches in width to the unit dimension. So we start with that 2x framed opening, and then we add a 1/2 inch zip. It's actually 7/16, I know, but I just call it 1/2 inch. I use the nominal dimension. And that 7/16 is placed on the inside of the window opening. Now, why would we do that? We do that because it's our weather-resistive barrier on the outside, but it's also our primary air barrier. And when you cut a hole in the wall, that whatever we fill that hole in the wall has to take the place of that primary air barrier. So I choose to basically take that weather-resistive barrier / primary air barrier and turn the corner with it and basically run it inside. Now that gives me a platform where I can put the window in and I can make whatever connection I need to between that weather-resistive barrier, primary air barrier, and my window, which in this case is also my weather-resistive barrier and primary air barrier. Now, it's for some people it might be hard to think of, but basically the window, even though it's providing a view and it's glass and it's different materials than this, it's still the weather-resistive barrier, right? It resists the weather outside from coming inside. So we want to maintain that continuity. So to do that, I flip this around the corner, we tape it off, it's fully flashed there, and then we have a platform to attach that to. And that happens on 3 sides. On the lower side here, we actually have the Zip R9 that comes in the 2 inches. And over the top of that, we put what I call a rip sill. And we'll look at this in the detail. We'll go through the detail on the sill when we get back to the studio. And that rip sill goes out all the way, and it actually goes over that last 2 inches. So now I have something solid here to nail to. On top of that, we have the predetermined location of the window, and then you can see we put a little 1x strip here that gets attached, and that basically provides an end dam. And the end dam is anything that if water goes in here, it's not coming up here, it's actually going to follow this slope. So on top of the rip sill, we actually have a piece of beveled siding. Some people call it clapboard, lap siding, beveled siding. But this actually has a slope to it. Now, some framers, they like to either put a slope on it or they'll just cant that rough sill. Up here in New England, the beveled siding is readily available. I always have used that as my detail. Now, a couple things with that. The minute I put in that sloped sill, now I don't have a flat surface to attach the flat bottom of the window to. So I call for little wood clips, and you can see here Howell Custom Builders and EAS, they have fully prepped for the situation. So when you have the sloped sill here and it has that very fine slope, I need to be able to counter that. So what I do is I take these little blocks and basically put them on top of it. It counters the slope sill and then gives me that flat platform now to attach to. And you can see here, we have those clips. You know, the instructions were we put one about a 1/2 inch or so out of the corner. And the reason we hold it out of the corner is that we want to be able to get any water that migrates down here. We want to give it a path out. So we give it a little channel on the edge there, as well as with these clips. We put them about every 16 inches, and we have this one here out at the end so that the frame is directly sitting on top of that clip there, and then the frame is pretty much fully supported across there. So with the zip turned in on the three sides and our rip sill down at the bottom, we have to create what's called a pan flashing. And I know I'm a little out of order because I jumped ahead with those clips. But the pan flashing here, if you remember in the last video, that's made with zip stretch tape. You can see it says stretch tape right on it. And the beauty of the stretch tape is that it has the ability to conform to these corners. So basically the stretch tape gets placed on there, it comes out, it goes up over the top of the end dam, and it flashes over that leading edge. Now, any water that gets into my window install system is going to fall to gravity, hit the sill, hit the slope, drain out, and we'll have a rain screen on the outside of the wall to accept it. Remember, one of the most important things about the term water management, it's not water barrier, it's not water stopper, water halter, none of that. It's water management. Management means I have to give it a path to go. So we give it that path to go. Notice that the stretch tape comes around the corner, it conforms to the corner, and it turns up the window edge about 6 inches. Our flashing down the jamb comes down and overlaps that in a shingle fashion. Again, any water that comes down, you don't want to challenge that edge. You want to go over the top of it into the pan and drain out. On the corners up at the top there, you can see that stretch tape came over the jamb, but it goes under the head flashing. Again, lapped properly, shingle fashion. So that's how we basically prep the window opening, and now we're ready to accept the window, seat it down on our nice reverse blocking there, and then attach it. So we'll talk about that more in an upcoming video, but let's head back to the studio. We'll break out the sill detail, and we'll talk about that in detail. I'll see you back at the studio.
Hey, everybody. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I mean, I know framing's pretty exciting, but is there anything more exciting than prepping a windowsill? I don't know. Maybe grabbing Big Red, breaking out a detail and talking about it. So without further ado, let's test that theory. All right, everybody. So there you have it. This is the windowsill detail. And when I draw these, I usually draw them at not half inch scale, half scale. Or sometimes some people would call it 6 inch scale. Right? So every 6 inches equals a foot, half scale. So if you took this 2x8, this 7 1/4 here, it's actually half the size of an actual 2x8. So it's not, these aren't at that 6 inch scale, just so you know. I blew these up even more to fit the page, but understanding that, yeah, when we do those details, then that's what I typically draw them at. Anyway, here's that rip sill. We talked about that in a previous video. You can go check it out. This is the top of our 2x8, and then you can see here we have our zip R9 sheathing happening there. You saw out there we have our back dam, and we have that slope sill all the way down, and then we had our inverted shims here. You can see those, and those were intermittent. Those aren't continuous. This piece here, the slope piece, and the rip sill, those are continuous, full width. The back dam, that's continuous. These are intermittent. Right? And then we have our window here, and you can see we actually draw in the bracket and have a little bend to it, and it attaches right there. And then we're showing that we want the screw here. We don't want to penetrate our sill pan. We want to bring that attachment back to the top of our back dam. And then we call out for that sill membrane that comes down, and you can see it stops there. And it goes all the way up, and it makes that little lip and comes on. The things that I'm concerned there is, that we get beyond that joint, I would say, at least a half an inch, and we get up on top of that back dam at least a half an inch or so. So you have to make sure that in doing that, this distance to that distance can be satisfied by one of the widths of typical zip stretch. So I believe it comes in like 8s and 10s. They might have a 12-inch product. But, I always just take that polyline and identify it and make sure that I'm falling within the realm of one of their membrane widths. So the idea here, like we talked about in the video, is by propping that window up and putting it on those little pieces here. Well, any water that gets into the system, and I not to beat a dead horse, but you can do windows and you can install them as two types of systems. One as a water managed, which we have here. The other is a barrier. Right? And the difference between those two, obviously, it comes in the name. The barrier is an all stop, right? That's an all stop. That means your whole intention of a barrier system is to not let anything through. Now, me personally, I think that's somewhat of a naive approach because Mother Nature has a funny way of maybe losing a battle or two, but ultimately winning the war over time. So my preferred approach is always a water managed approach to most things. Barrier approach, if I can lower the risk, right? So these two, if I had to graph them, you could say that the graph here, where this over here is a barrier to a fully water managed system up there, and barrier approach at the bottom, and this is risk, right? So when my risk is low on there, then the barrier approach. But if my risk increases, I want to move up towards that water managed. So the further I go down, the more I want to go up. So the higher the risk, meaning the exposure, where the window is. I mean, this house here, it's theoretically, in the woods. It's not going to get a 60-mile-an-hour wind with wind-driven rain like our house up on the shore that we did right there. And not only did we have a house on the shore, but it was a walkout. And so we had 3 stories of very large windows. And you think about it, right? And in that video, I said it. I said, one of the coolest things is getting a job where you get to design a big house on the waterfront. Well, one of the scariest things for an architect is getting a big job where you get to design a house on the waterfront, because the risk increases, right? And when that risk increases, then you have to have systems in place that manage that risk. And you have to move away from barrier systems, because typically if barrier systems, if you're wondering, I have 2 Great Danes, and that's them howling, and I can't really control them from up here, so they're yelling at me. So we're just going to have to play this video through and let them be part of the conversation. But as that risk increases, that water management, it has to become more of a water managed system. The problem with barrier systems and all stop systems is
they work for a certain amount of time. But because we build basically this barrier system that's a zero tolerance, if something gets behind that barrier system, it can't get out. And if it can't get out, then that means it's going to rot or do crazy things inside the wall system. So anyways, here, any water that might come down through the system here, it would get captured by our pan. The pan is basically to stop water from making its way in and getting to the backside of the drywall and to wood products that would potentially grow mold and rot, right? I have some great pictures of that exact thing happening. We want to push any water that comes down, we want to push it that way. And then when we get it to our rain screen system, we want to push it, or not even push it there. We just use gravity, right? Mother Nature is working with us there. So we want that to be what Joe would call down and out, right? Get rid of it. If you don't want water to be a problem, get rid of it. Manage it. Down and out. So that goes out over those, or in between those intermittent clips, down into our rain screen here. We have a rain screen system there, and we're going to do a bunch of talking about that. But, you know, that's 3/8 of an inch. And there's good reason why that's 3/8 of an inch. So anyways, that's the quick lowdown on water managed versus barrier, why I would choose them.
All right, everybody. Well, it's out there. Time to vote. Is it more impressive to talk about window install details and window sill details? Or do we still like framing? I mean, framing's a hard one to beat. But anyways, good ideas, or the best thing is, big red makes them all important. So that red marker, it's got a way of making just the slightest detail seem the most important. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that. If you're looking for more, check out all the videos on the Build Show Network. Tons there, 7 times, science says. So if you're looking for more from me, Steve Basic Architect on Instagram, putting stuff up there all the time. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. Post up there too. And then lastly, Peter Yost, Jake Bruton, and myself, Unbuild It Podcast. Yeah, go check it out. We talk about everything building. So it's really cool stuff. We have a lot of fun doing it. And I'm even cracking jokes at the end. So who'd have known that I was such a comedian? So anyways, go check it out. Until next time, I'm Steve Basic Architect. This is the Build Show Network. And long live our buildings.